Hi, Sean Savage here from Streaker Marine. We've got two of our most popular boats on the showroom floor behind us. It's the Cruisecraft 720 hardtop and the 695 as well. We're going to jump in both boats and go through the sizes and the dimensions throughout the boat and see where that size difference really fits in. So, if you've seen our video on the 695 versus 635, I'm going to do the exact same measurements. First measurement is again from this seat frame, and it's going to go all the way back to the transom door, right on this Teflon piece here. That gives us a really good indication and it's fair on all the boats. So, from the stainless steel seat frame to the transom door, the 720 is 100 mil longer than the 695. The total length is 2.370. The internal beam, again, we've gone the handrail. So the inside of the handrail to the inside of the handrail. The difference is the 695 is actually 50 mil wider in this area at 1950. So the 695 is slightly wider in its beam, but it's slightly shorter in its cockpit length. I think you would find if you measure the side decks here where I'm sitting, they could be marginally wider on the 720 than they are on the 695, but I am actually guessing that. Driver's head height. It's an important thing. I've never had no one's ever criticized me before on the driver's head height in a 720. The internal head height here is only 40 mil, so 4 centimeters taller in the 720. It's 1990, where the 695 is 1950. So the internal head height from the driving position, I think you'll find will be very adequate for 90% of people that get behind the boat there. The driver's helm width, so I'm talking from here to here. This one again, I can touch either side of the windows quite easily. The 695 with those wider side decks, I was really stretching. So I think you'll find if you're a Cruisecraft buyer, the 695 internally here will be, the 635 internally here will be the widest. The 695 and the 720 are quite similar. They're 1650, which is basically identical to what the 695 was. I don't think it's a big deal. I think I'm actually happy to lose a little bit of space here. We're talking about maybe 5, 6, 7 centimeters, because we do gain it on that walk around on the side there. Those wider walk-arounds give us a lot easier access to the bow of the boat, and they do have a bigger surface area that in the rougher weather, they're going to disperse the water a little bit nicer as well. So I'm not actually awfully worried about that. The cabin walk-around, the exact area we're just talking about, so the area to walk around the side of the boat, the 695 and 720 are basically identical there. The cabin length, exactly the same. So that's from the cabin door to the very front bulkhead. We're looking at 1880, and that's your sleeping quarters there. The cabin head height in the 720 is a fair bit taller. It's 130 mil taller. So internal of the 720 here, we've got a head height, a seating head height of 920 mil, where in this guy over here, we're sitting about 770. Now, if you did watch the last video, the reason why I think that's the case is the 695 has a much bigger flare through the bow of the boat. So the flare tapers in, which means the actual height of the seat that you sit inside the cabin would be a bit taller to allow for that flare. So they do have that raised deck, which is a little bit taller than what we're used to, which I think looks fantastic. But the 720, the cabin seats are probably a little bit lower, which generates that little bit of headroom. It's not the end of the world though. I don't think anyone's going to sit in there and read a book for an awfully long time. I think the important part of these boats is our fishing area here. That's what we buy these boats for, is to have that floor space at the back there. To reiterate and summarize it, the 720 is slightly longer. It's 100 mil longer in its length. It's actually slightly narrower in its width. The head height in the 695 and 720s is very, very similar. The cabin length is exactly the same. The cabin height in the 720 is slightly taller. Both the boats have underfloor storage compartments that can be plumbed as underfloor kill tanks or pump in, pump out, actually filtered tanks. They both have over 300 litres of fuel. So they're actually quite similar in length. Cosmetically, they are slightly different. You'll find The 695 over here has the central live bait tank and that popped out transom, where the 720 has that flatter style transom with the recessed rear lounge, and it's a little bit flatter across, which gives us our live bait tank on the starboard side of the boat. Both boats, bang for buck on what you get. I think you'll find, as far as finish, quality, ride performance, they're all exceptional boats. I think it's one of those things that if you jump in both boats and spend a little bit of time, if you're fortunate enough to have a showroom that can cater to have both boats there, you might like one just a little bit more than the other. I don't think the layout or the size is really going to make your mind up. However, one thing to take into consideration is the 720 is over 3 ton for towing, and the 695 is just under 3 ton. So if your tow vehicle comes into consideration, the 695 might help you a little bit under 3 ton. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to contact us here at Streaker Marine. We'd love to help you with your next boat purchase.